Fortunately, once again we get to listen to Linkin Park. I just uploaded a video on Heavy is the Crown, and yesterday it went out a new video, a new song by Linkin Park. The name of the song is Over Each Other. This will be the very first time that I listen to the song, so this will be a first time react. For those who are new here, I'm a singer, songwriter, and vocal coach. I'll put a link to my original music here, and let's listen to Over Each Other.
This is the letter that I...
Okay. Let me listen to this again.
This is the letter that I... This is the letter that I didn't write.
Okay, so here, when she sings this, and when she sings I, whenever she's going for I didn't write, we have a bit of creaky. This is a kind of vocal distortion, a really mild and soft one. So she's starting like, this is. She won't carry the creaky for the whole thing, but we have a bit when she's starting, this is the letter that I didn't write. And then once again we have that for I didn't write. Apart from that, her vocal folds are passive. So we have that soft tone. She's not doing this is the la. She's not doing a strong tone. So the vocal folds are soft. We have a soft closure there. The muscles are loose. Everything is quite soft. However, we don't have breathiness here. Let's keep going.
Looking for color in the black and white.
She's singing mostly with her vocal folds in passive tension. Now, because we have that soft tone, the passive closure of the vocal folds, and we don't have breathiness, this would characterize a vocal scheme. Vocal schemes are arrangements, configurations between source, between what the larynx is doing, between what the filter is doing. In each of these configurations we would call a vocal scheme. The vocal scheme that she's using here in vocal anthropophysiology, which is the theoretic framework for my work as a voice teacher, we call that a Gregorian voice. So the name is a tribute to the Gregorian chant, but it's not exactly equal to the Gregorian chant, but it is this kind of vocal behavior that we have a soft tone. Oh, hey, hey. We don't have that strong closure. Hey. The vocal folds are not active. We have a soft tone, but we don't have breathiness. That's exactly what she's using here. And we have a lot of transitions between creaky and Gregorian. Hey, hey. She's doing a lot of that here.
Skyscrapers we created.
Okay, and now we have something active there.
Looking for color in the...
Looking for color in the creaky, Gregorian, color in, looking for color in the
black and white.
Again, black and white, creaky, and then Gregorian voice. Two different vocal schemes, and she's going from the first to the next one.
Skyscrapers we created.
Okay, when she sings sky, well, she's singing skyscrapers, but when she hits sky, her vocal folds are active.
Skyscrapers we created.
So, skyscrapers we created. Yeah, so this is the melody. So I feel like this first part of the melody, she's singing with her vocal folds active, skyscrapers, and then she's switching to a passive vocal scheme, which would be that Gregorian voice again. We created. She's switching between an active vocal scheme and then a passive vocal scheme within the same phrase.
On shaky ground.
Oh, that's beautiful. We have a yodel there at the end.
On shaky ground.
Ground, ground, ground. Whenever we have that sudden, that abrupt break between an active technique and a passive technique, we would have what would characterize a yodel voice. The yodel is precisely that break when we want that break to happen. I sometimes tell my students that when we want a break to happen, we call that break a yodel. When we don't want that break to happen, it's just a break, just a crack. Of course, this here was intentional, so she's going for We have that active scheme when she's starting, and then she's breaking into a passive scheme.
I'm trying to find my patience, but you won't
Okay, we have great vocal distortions here.
I'm trying to find my patience, but you won't let me breathe.
But you won't let me breathe. But you won't let me breathe. The main structure to achieve this kind of distortion are the arytenoid cartilages, which makes this predominantly at least a glottic distortion. We would put that in the realm of a snore phaser voice because we have some breathiness happening there, even though that breathiness is mild. We have a predominance of crackling there, and that crackling is made by the arytenoid cartilages. Now, this is quite similar if you want to go back to the video that we made about Heavy is the Crown. This is quite similar to the distortion that she was using there, but here, let's say that we have a balance between crackling and hiss, and being the crackling, that strong oscillation of the cartilages. We have a lot of crackling here, and the sibilance, the hiss, would be that air escaping. Now here, that balance is tending more towards the crackling side, so we have more crackling than whizzing. That's the reason why it sounds strong. That vibration, that oscillation, the distortion itself sounds heavier. We have more compression. And a great way to start doing this is seeking that sensation as if you're lifting something really heavy, and then you close your larynx, but be careful. We don't want any sound happening here. This is only healthy. We call this exercise a counter pressure, and the counter pressure is only healthy if we don't have a sound. So you hold, you send air pressure, and then you hold. You apply compression, you close your vocal folds, and you don't let any air escape. Now, this would be the first step, and a second step would be you're singing a clean tone, hey, 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 and you go for a bit of that sensation. You don't want volume. You don't want to push a lot of air. You go for that sensation of compression. You go for a bit of that feel that you have when you practice the counter pressure, and you try to stay in the middle. Your vocal folds are not completely closed, but you do have that compression. Try that and let me know down in the comments if you were able to achieve it. Let's keep going.
Oh, we are just talking over each other. Over each other. Over each other.
Over each other. Over each other. We have the snore phaser when she starts, and then she goes into a clean sound. In vocal anthropophysiology, when we are singing high, what would be sometimes called a belting mix, when you're singing up there and we keep our vocal folds in active tension, we call that a warn voice. So the voice that you would use to warn someone about something. Imagine that you want to call someone at distance to warn them about something that's coming, something that's going on, and then you just, oh! That's the kind of vocal behavior. Vocal folds are stretched because we are on the higher part of the range. We have the vocal folds active because we want that sound to be heard, even in busy, even in loud environments. So that's what we have here. It doesn't mean that what she's doing is loud. She has the volume controlled. I told you guys before that singing is a balance of pressure. So whenever we have a high pressure here, a high transglottic pressure, we need to balance that either by decreasing the subglottic pressure, the air pressure that we're sending, or the supraglottic pressure, the space that we have above the vocal folds. So if we want more air pressure and more activation, we need to open up that space. We want to create more space inside.
Reaching for satellites, but all alone.
All alone. Here we have that creaky, all alone. We have that active warm voice, all alone. And then we have the auto going into a Gregorian voice. This is fantastic.
Under your breath, you're saying that I was wrong. Oh,
I was wrong.
breath, you're saying that I was wrong.
So when I'm talking to colleagues, when I'm talking to my students, I will call a vocal run, or depending on the terms that you use, a melisma, every time that we have one syllable in more than one note. So because she was doing up, 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 we have two notes there for only one syllable.
You're saying that I was wrong.
So she's singing wrong, wrong, wrong. So that wrong is only one syllable, wrong, but she's doing wrong, wrong. I would call that a vocal run.
The skyscrapers we created.
The skyscrapers we created. The skyscrapers we created. Again, we have that snort phaser, and then we have a worn voice.
Are coming down, free falling to the pavement. 'Cause you won't let me breathe, and I'm not ever right. All we are is talking over each other. There's nothing underneath.
Okay, two things apart from vocal technique that I want to point out here. The first one is how this song is different from the ones that we heard before, Heavy is the Crown and The Emptiness Machine, which is something that in particular, I like that. I like the sensation that the band can create different songs, that within an album we'll have different sounds, it will feel different coming from one song and going to the next one, so I really like that. And the second thing is her acting here. I don't know if Emily has an acting background, but it's pretty hard, and I say that because I've done that myself, to act and also be a singer in a music video. Because for the couple of music videos that I released one for I Hear a Voice Inside, one of my original songs, and another one of my original songs, Before It Aches. For both of them, I act in the music video, so I wasn't only singing for my parts in the music video, I was acting. And that's pretty hard, especially because I don't have an acting background. So it's quite interesting to see this here, because we are following the story. We have the accident when she first started singing, like getting out of the car, and we saw some scenes that happened before that, so you're creating the story, you're reinforcing each element of the story. And I really like how Emily, as an actress, she's conducting our perception of the story according to her perception as a character in the song, and of course as a singer that's telling us with the lyrics the story.
I can't go to sleep.
I can't go to sleep. Here it's interesting because we were talking about yodels and that break that happens when you change abruptly between an active scheme and a passive scheme. We don't have that here, but still we have the change. So every time that we have a smooth transition between an active scheme and a passive scheme, we just call it a transition. She was singing with one vocal scheme and then she goes to the next one without that break. So we don't have that break here. And that reinforces the idea that the break, when it happens, is intentional because you don't need the break. So when the singer can showcase breaks when they want, and then they don't have breaks when they don't want, that's a great sign of vocal control.
I can't go to sleep.
I can't go to sleep. So I feel like to sleep is passive and I can is active.
I lie awake at night.
And we go back to that pattern that we heard in the beginning of the song, creaky and then a Gregorian voice.
I'm so tired of talking.
And now we have the snort phaser again. I'm so tired of talking
Over each other.
over each other. Snort phaser and then a warm voice.
Underneath. I wanna see your side.
I wanna. This is a good example of a warm voice. Listen how she's making that vowel a bit darker. She's going for the schwa vowel sound, that So she's going for wanna. And this is a great strategy for when we want to sing high but keeping our vocal folds active. You probably heard some voice teachers talking about opening up space, keeping the space as you're going up. It's not exactly, especially in contemporary singing, it's not about keeping your larynx low. Your larynx will present some movements in contemporary singing, in non-classical singing, but that supraglottic space does help when we know what we're doing. Again, it's a matter of balancing pressures. Sometimes people have a hard time going for the upper range because they have all the pressures so high, and you have a high transglottic pressure, you have a high subglottic pressure, and you have a high supraglottic pressure. The vocal folds will breakboard. You have that you have a vocal break, a vocal crack, because you can't hold the vocal folds active. So it is a great strategy when we're going up to open the space here so that we are reducing the supraglottic pressure. Talking. You guys know what that is, right? Right? Yes, you're right. Ayodo. Okay, I'm so confused right now that I might have to watch the music video again. And that's the bad part about, like, pausing the video the whole time to make the analysis. What's going on? Isn't Emily the one that survived the accident? So, let's keep going. What? Okay, I'm confused. I'm confused. I might have to watch this again. I will watch this again. But if you're watching this video right now, even before I keep going, tell me in the comments what you think that happened there. So I'm extremely confused. I will have to rewatch this. This is heavy. Yeah. Alright. I'll have to digest that. I'll have to think way more about that. But yeah. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the music video. No, yeah, this is heavy. Well, that's our vocal analysis of Over Each Other by Linkin Park. Let me know in the comments what you want to hear next. Let me know songs that you would like me to analyze. What are the challenges that you are facing right now as a singer? If you want to learn these techniques, the Gregorian voice, the snore phaser voice, the warm voice, the creaky voice, vocal runs, yodos, send me a message so that we can book your voice lesson. Remember, if your concepts cannot be seen in the real world, they must change, and not the world. And see you next time, guys.